Well, I think the role of social media is quite different now than it was 12 years ago. So when we were initially using Facebook, it was for generating the traffic. So people would be leaving Facebook and coming to our page. So it was a bit like, I mean, the major source of traffic for us is Google. We kind of, leverage that search traffic. So, any search term about Japan, virtually, how to get from Tokyo to Osaka, for example, you put that into Google and we're likely to come up near the top. So, that's our main source of income. But in terms of things like social media, it's changed quite a bit. So we don't think of things like Instagram and TikTok, for example, as sources of traffic. They're more like, they're different channels. We're serving the same kind of content through those channels, and also they're kind of like marketing channels for the website as well, and the brand. So
other places for you to provide value in a different way, basically.
Yeah.
So still the same concept.
Yeah. But we don't pull the traffic from TikTok and Instagram to the website.
You also started new projects, so it evolved from Tokyo Cheapo into Japan Cheapo, and now you've expanded also internationally with London and Hong Kong. What made you decide to kind of change and expand so much, especially internationally?
We decided to do that quite early because we thought that it could be a concept that could be used in other expensive cities around the world. So, I mean, the idea of Tokyo is it's expensive. Well, it was expensive. I think it's a lot cheaper now. But it was expensive and it was difficult to understand. So there's a lot of, the language is a huge barrier. So I think there's a lot of fear when people come to Japan and Tokyo. They're quite nervous about dealing with the language and the culture and all that kind of stuff.
And so price-wise, for example, to not understand the pricing of
Exactly,
the menu or of some...
Yeah. So what we're doing is when we offer that really detailed information about pricing and how to do things, it just helps to reduce that stress level of people coming in. I think, they tend to overplan because, Japan is slightly more challenging than other destinations in terms of language and culture. So we were looking for similar kind of places. So we thought, places like Hong Kong, Singapore. I mean, there's a lot more English used in those places, but they still do have some aspects of the same kind of. It's almost like an impenetrability. It's
hard to access, hard to understand and grasp.
I mean, like places like Hong Kong and Singapore, you've got like an expat community and you've got expat hangouts, but there's that whole kind of other aspect where people only speak Chinese and there's only a Chinese menu, for example. So we thought that kind of formula we could take overseas. So it was kind of the reason we started London, which is slightly different, is basically because my co-founder is from the UK, so it kind of made sense.
Provide something for his hometown.
Yeah. Although that doesn't really match the same formula as Tokyo Cheapo. So we started London Cheapo in 2016. And then we launched Hong Kong Cheapo in 2019.
Which is quite the most recent.
Yeah. And so London Cheapo ended up being quite a different thing because you've got to find a formula for each city. So it's not the same as Tokyo Cheapo. So London Cheapo is much more about events and food and things like that.
So it will be more into this kind of lifestyle. Playing into what...
Well, the big difference is Tokyo Cheapo, we get about 70% of our readers from outside Japan. So, tourists and travelers coming to Japan, whereas London Cheapo, it's about 80 to 90% locals, so people in London.
That's quite interesting how different regions are using the same type of platform, basically.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can't use the same kind of formula in London that we used in Tokyo because, it's an English-speaking country and we're an English website, so, there's not that kind of impenetrability in terms of the existing content.
You're not giving the access to something that they cannot access otherwise.
Exactly, yeah. So we thought it would work much better in Hong Kong, although our timing wasn't great. So we started in 2019, which is right at the start of the big protests in Hong Kong. So, a lot of people were scared to go there because of all the violence. And then we went straight into COVID. So we're still kind of figuring out the formula there as well.